Today we will cover the works of two Czech spiritist writers. Antonia Jelenová was a female mystic publishing as A.J. Ibing. She was born in 1870 in Prague and was the widow of a butcher. In 1908 she founded the mystical Friends of Ibing Society, which was abolished by the communist regime in 1951. She died in 1923. We will cover her 1914 Agni, an ancient story. The story, possibly taking place on the Isle of Rhodes, has Agni, a young shepherd, find an old hermit who teaches him about God. Then he finds a girl named Anima who also goes to learn about God, but she moves away and dies. Agni then sees her spirit guide him after her death, and makes him go out to teach people about God. He meets the astronomer Hipparchos and becomes his friend. But his lover Xenia is captivated by Agni and wants to seduce him. She takes him to the evil wizard Aetrobasus, who summons a bloody corpse that tempts him with summoning the spirit of his dead love. But then Agni just stomps his feet and they all vanish. Then when he rejects Xenia, she accuses him of assault and his friend Hipparchos has him die in a dungeon as a spy. But the actually interesting stuff takes up maybe 4 pages out of 95. The entire rest is just vague, empty blathering about God, spiritual development, the general non-specified blessedness of higher spirits in the spirit realm. Spirit this, spirit that, over and over and over. There is nothing to recommend here. And this book is a perfect example of why spiritists often write the worst fiction. Because they will never alter what they know to be true to work better as a narrative, and they often spend time just pontificating to the reader instead of having anything happen. Karel Weinfurter was a Czech mystic and writer. He was born in 1867 in Jičín, the son of soldier Karel Weinfurter and Antonia Jiranková. He worked as a postal worker, journalist and secretary for Jaroslav Vrchlický, was an editor on a spiritist review and one of the first people who promoted yoga in Bohemia. He won great renown for his 1923 work on mysticism, The Burning Bush or the Revealed Way. He was arrested during the German occupation of Czechoslovakia and died shortly after his release in 1942. We will cover 2 of his short works of fiction, both published in 1917. The first is the She-Satanist. 2 friends, the architect Mara and the sculptor Reti, arrive in Paris, meeting a variety of occultists as part of their mutual research. Reti is very much a believer and a member of several secret societies and brotherhoods, while Mara is a skeptic. Arriving at their rooms one night, Reti notices a news item concerning a strange suicide in the Hotel de Boulogne, where a man painted his face black, drew a pentagram on his forehead and hung himself in the window. A month later, the same thing happens again in the exact same hotel room. So Reti and Mara go and join a mystic brotherhood to spiritually protect him as he is sent to do research at the hotel, as Reti knows the deaths were supernatural murder, and the initiation scene is longer than Mara's research, which is just him sitting in his room watching a woman watching him from the one window of the only house opposite the hotel, with a direct view of the room where both suicides took place. And yet he has no idea it was her, though as she's the only person we ever see at the hotel beyond the terrified staff, well, what do you think? She almost makes him kill himself with a clay doll, but then Reti shows up and she falls over dead. At 30 pages it is somehow too long-winded and takes too long to get to the point. The second is the Fakir's Gratitude. In circa 1870, Edward Woodcroft is travelling through India in search of treasure to fund his research with his friend and servant Udasya. Then one day Edward finds a dying fakir in the forest and saves his life. Govinda Swami promises to let him find a treasure that the fakir's evil ancestor hid away in a tower, guarded by demons and entombed spirits of unwilling slaves. Now, despite having an evil wizard at his beck and call, this unnamed Shah still got defeated and imprisoned for the rest of his life 300 years ago. They arrive at the tower and do some magical incantations. Not much really happens beyond a lot of wind and hail, and then they get the treasure. This story also takes only a few pages before the end to actually start doing what it's supposed to be about. And though there is a bit more here, there is still not much.